Well, good day. How are you? We've had an interesting day today. We had probably a number of in-depth discussions prior to the actual council meeting, and ranged over a number of issues. One of the issues that came up during general discussion was the demise of the large four banks in our rural communities, and look, this was an issue discussed or generated by Junee Shire Councils back here probably 6 weeks ago, where they convened a Zoom meeting essentially across all Australia regarding the move of the large four banks to leave rural communities. And one of the things that came up during the discussion today was how were we going to address that in the future. It wasn't an issue that was discussed in the council meeting, but it was an issue of general comment around the table.
Although we did raise it, Chaff, because coming up in June we have the National General Assembly, also the Australian Council of Local Government over in Canberra, and they're actually calling for the notices of motion or motions to put forward to the conferences. And one of the issues that we did raise was about the demise of banking facilities in smaller rural communities, and the fact that we should not be allowing it to get down to something that is just delivered through the post office. That is just very basic services, and many of our community members need to have access to the banking system.
Actual physical banking presence, that's right.
And if the big four banks don't want to be a part of our communities,
well,
then
we should look to the other,
right.
credit union, credit unions I should say, as well as the community banking system, which is providing an alternative, which in the end benefits the local communities
but
substantially more. It is.
It's important. You know, we talk about money as if we're never going to touch real money again, but we do have an entire demographic that just want to be able to walk in and talk to somebody about their banking services. They don't want to have to do internet, and they don't want to just have to talk to somebody over a phone. They want to have face-to-face.
That's right. And you know, some of our older generations certainly appreciate that. Look, there were during the course of the council meeting, there were a number of things we discussed. One of them was the Talbingo Library services. That's an issue that's in light of the moving on of a lady who's delivered the services for a long time there. We're looking at ways in which we can still continue to deliver the services.
That's right, and they do actually have community transport that comes from Talbingo and is available. And so the idea is that we'll be trying to link with our community in Talbingo and get them to access the community transport, so that in turn they can access all of the services that are available through the Chimmet Shire, or the Chimmet Library, sorry.
That's right.
And, little Freudian slip there.
That's right.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. Look, the reality is that there's probably a better way to deliver the services anyway, and with the community transport, with the ability to deliver the books to the individual's home is enhanced. So, look, we'll monitor the performance of that on a 12-month trial basis, see if it's achieving the same objectives that we had before. Yeah. So, look, the other thing was obviously the long lunch and the winter bites funding.
Cancoban and Adlong.
Cancoban and Adlong. Adlong's winter bites last year was a tremendous success. The communities indicated that they'd be interested to go down that path again, as has the Cancoban community with the long lunch. So the council's agreed to apply for funding, but we'd like community groups to take over the running of it.
That's right, and I think the reasoning behind all of this and choosing the long lunch down at Cancoban and the winter bites over at Adlong is that they are two communities that at this point don't have a festival or a celebration. I mean, we have the Tumba Fest, and we also have Cider Fest. And we have Festival of the Falling Leaf and the Brews, Drews and whatever the really convoluted one that's happening this weekend in Tumut. But a lot of these places already have well-established festivals and events, and so the idea of encouraging Cancoban and also Adlong to start developing,
sponsoring their own type of activities. Look, and look, if we can, the role of council's not to do all this. The role of council is to support local communities who want to generate their own, advancement and well-being. So if we can continue to do that, it'd be great to see them get involved in it.
I remember a senior executive of the Bendigo Bank coming to talk to what was then the former Tumut Shire Council, and he had a really good initiative. His comment was, we want to provide people with a hand up, not a handout.
Yep.
And so, you know, helping people to do for themselves. It's our saying, you know, give somebody fish, you feed them for a day, teach them how to fish and you feed them for life. And I think if we can empower these communities to take on these events, then it gives them ownership and it gives them a sense of that completion within communities.
You have ownership, you're committed, there's no question.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to foster in our local government area.
And we actually adopted today the regional tracks and trails master plan.
Well, look.
And let's hope it becomes something, it's a doing thing, not just a document that's
well,
sits
that
on
was
a
the
shelf.
comment that was made in the council meeting, is we don't want this resting on the shelf gathering dust. We want it out there making things happen. And look, it's again, that's another area that the community can get involved in. They can, with the council's support, we can make a lot of these options happen. And you know, there were 5 headings that were prioritised in the exercise, but there were a number of other areas that people with interest or particular points of view, or as I said, particular interest to drive, they don't have to stick to the 5. There's a heap of them there, and if they want to drive them forward, we'll be here to help.
Do you know what I like, Chaff, in relation to the actual document? Quite often as a council we tell everybody that things are going out for 28 days public exhibition, and guess what? They go out on exhibition and 28 days later they are adopted because nobody makes a submission. This is one of the documents that we got a fabulous response. Right. And so I think we need to actually acknowledge and thank everybody who took the time and made the effort to actually put in a submission based on the document itself. So thank you for that.
And it gives us a template for the future. It really does.
It does. Now, talking about going out for 28 days exhibition.
Well, the DCP's up for it's some changes within it.
DCP, Chaff, you need to say what it is.
What did I say? DCP. Oh,
Development
Control Plans. My apologies. Look, I know what a DCP is.
You do, but others don't. Look,
the result is that we've got a DCP, a Development Control Plan, 123 pages long. It's really a hefty tome, which I'm not sure that we need that level of detail, but it's an opportunity for the community to get out and have a bit of a say about it, because if you were to look at other DCPs from other comparable local government areas, they're not as prescriptive as ours is, and it's an opportunity for people to say how you want your town and communities to grow, and we've got to grow. We cannot sit stable. There's no such thing as the middle ground. You're either going forward or you're going backwards, and we as a community, local government community, Snowy Valleys community, have to grow.
So we, just like with the tracks and trails, we'd really encourage people to have a really good look at it, put some submissions in. We need our community to engage with us. We can't do all of the hard yards and go out and individually talk to everybody one-on-one, but all of us make ourselves available. We are so accessible and really passionate about working with our community so that we hear your voice, and that's what public exhibition is all about, your opportunity to make submissions on the documents that we as councillors adopt.
And we don't have the prerogative of having the right answer all the time.
Really?
We've presented this document. We want you people to make comment on it, and if you see it as an impediment to growth or something that can be modified to make the growth of our communities better and more responsive, that's what it's all about. Right?
And probably a little less attractive, we have another document that's gone out for public exhibition.
Yes,
that would be our on-site sewer and management strategy. Yes.
Look, it's an issue. I don't know if you've all identified, particularly the rural component of our rate-paying community, but you're paying $34 annually towards this provision of service, and look, from the point of view of managing our wastewater and sewerage, it's essential. We need to protect our waterways, we need to protect our country, and we need to ensure that we're disposing of our sewage and effluent in an appropriate manner. So.
It is, and you know, we've got a number of documents that are out on public exhibition, and one of the areas of discussion today was about council looking for ways to even be able to streamline some of these documents so that they're really easily accessible and readable for everybody. And I mentioned that I'm actually a delegate on the Disability Action Inclusion Reference Group, and not every disability needs a ramp or a visual aid, and sometimes the disability that people has is just being able to understand some of these really wordy documents that are produced.
They've got to be
So
succinct
we
and
need
to the
look at
point
it.
rather than convoluted and using long words that can be simplified. It's essential. But anyway, it's an area that we need to be very mindful of, the fact that we need to ensure that we dispose of our effluents and wastes in an appropriate manner.
Yeah. And then I suppose one of the bigger reports that we had today was actually for the proposed artisan food and drink and the micro distillery.
Yeah.
And you know, when you look at the report, council actually took the time and paid the money to have an independent person review this so that it's not a council staff member. And when you look at the report and you remove everything bar the information that's required, and you look at the lines that just said compliance yes, and so today it wasn't unanimous, but the report and the decision has gone through.
We adopted the decision to approve the DA, and look, at the end of the day, you can't please everybody all of the time, and as long as all the necessary facts and information have been taken into account and considered, and the outcomes identified, I think that that's a responsible move for this council and local government generally to make.
We're not town planners.
No,
and
we're not.
You know, when you nominate to be a councillor, we can't have all the answers. All we can do is promise that when we are presented with a report that has been prepared in what we believe is the appropriate way, that we're guided by that. We don't have all of the knowledge to make decisions without the proper background information that comes to us, and I believe that in this instance, with council asking an independent person to prepare this report, then that for me made it a fairly clear decision.
I couldn't agree with you more, Trina. I think at the end of the day, we've got to be responsible, we've got to be consistent in our approach, and we've got to take on expert advice, and we certainly had that as far as
now
this
listen,
issue is
I
concerned.
believe bikes and more bikes. We've got, the big bike event coming up this weekend. We've had a previous bike event, and then I believe that the
Royal Far West came through Tumbarumba on Tuesday, and called in at the All Saints School in Tumbarumba. It was a fantastic event. About 70 riders all up in three different categories. And look, I wish I was as fit as that, but then again, it's probably many years ago that I could have ridden a bike to the same extent of some of these people.
You're doing okay.
And they had a wonderful time. The kids appreciated them being there, and of course the Royal Far West, this coming year they'll be have been in business for 100 years providing services to rural kids in New South Wales.
Phenomenal, isn't it?
And look, it's magic. They've got a beautiful spot down there at Manly. The kids, some of the kids go down and spend a week down there being assessed, and the services that they require being delivered to them, and they're a really professional organisation. So it was a great experience.
And exciting news for April.
Well,
because April we're taking council on the road.
We are, and you wouldn't believe where we're going.
Tumbarumba,
hey?
So the next council
meeting.
Finally,
we're going back to running a council meeting in our various towns and communities. It's essential that council doesn't concentrate its effort in one location, that we get out and engage with the communities.
That's right.
And we've got some wonderful communities. We've got places like Batlow and Adelong and
Cancoban and
Brungle. Let's get out, Talbingo. Let's get out and have a yarn to the people, show our presence and indicate it, and get a better understanding of what our role is.
So in April, We're all
We're all on the road.
We're all converging on
They're
Tumbarumba.
coming up to Tumbarumba. Now they'll know what it's like coming down from Tumbarumba.
I'll stop it.
So-
And the other thing is that in June, just a little heads up for anybody who's so passionate about watching our live stream council meetings.
They'll be
because
fascinated.
because
That's
the
right.
National General Assembly and also the Australian Council of Local Government is held from the 13th to the 16th, which is fair smack in the middle. It would have been our council meeting.
So we've moved it.
We've resolved to move it to the 22nd, I think it is, the next week. And, you know...
So watch this space.
Watch it.
That's right.
Or come and see us in Tumbarumba.
That's right. Yeah, very good. Righto. Thanks for the
Jeff.
opportunity. It's great to have a bit of a yarn.
Thank
See ya. Ta-da.